Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome back to the show. Today, I'm super excited to dive into today's conversation with Natasha from Dawn Photography. Now, you probably know her from her beautiful and colorful work and also the cutest outfits you've ever seen while doing newborn photography. She's a talented newborn photographer located in Samford Valley, and that's in Brisbane. I am so excited to dive into this conversation with her. So, without further ado, here's Tash. Welcome. So can you share with us who you are and what you're super passionate about?
Sure. Well, I'm Tash, and oh gosh, I'm a crazy creative photographer who loves all things handmade. And yeah, I have a studio, a commercial studio that's usually pretty crazy and busy and always has things going on. I'm just super passionate about being able to do what I love to do every day. Like, just to be able to continue doing this is just makes me very, very happy.
I love it. And you are so creative because I'm always seeing in your behind the scenes, you're either doing like balloon arches or you're doing things with florals. So just tell, like, how do you keep everything organized? That's like my number one question.
No, it's organized chaos. There is no set organization rule to me. I put things wherever they need to go, and then I just hope that I remember where I've decided to put them this particular time. I just always need to be doing something. I need to do something, and
Yeah.
I love filming what I do to share that with people. I think also because I do so much, usually during the week, I needed to share that it was actually me doing it, which is always
Yeah.
pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like looking at your behind the scenes, like you've blown up on both TikTok and Instagram. And but it's your behind the scenes are just fantastic, and you've got these
Thank
beautiful
you.
organized colorful spaces that I'm always like, how does she do this? Because it looks like a bomb exploded in mine when when I'm done.
Oh, you've only seen what I show you, you know what I mean? Like, I'm only sharing. I love my background wall that needs to be organized at all times.
Yeah,
That's very, very important to me. That colorful needs to be at least in color order, but everything
yeah,
else is just, I have a whole shed that I don't think I've ever showed in my behind the
yeah,
scenes. You'd probably walk in and be very scared.
yeah. I love that. I love that. So can you maybe share your photography story? How did you get into photography and how did you sort of find your way into the newborn niche and where you're at now?
Well, I have always done photography, and I know everybody says that they've always done photography, but when I was quite little, I used to just absolutely torment my family with a Polaroid camera, and I used to just take photos of everybody, be right up in their face. And then I think I was about 10, maybe, when I decided I was going to call it Dawn Photography, and I was just going to have a business. And I've had to stick with that name because I did it, 20 years ago,
Oh
21
my
years ago.
gosh.
And my mum actually got me a few opportunities just to follow some photographers when I was really young, I think maybe 15. And I was able to follow a few photographers in the wedding world. So I started out doing weddings. Um, and I am a people person. I love being out there, but I also like retreating to my own space. So I did do wedding photography full time for a good few years when I originally started. And then it just wasn't, I was getting, I don't know, I just couldn't stick with it. It just felt like
Yeah.
I needed to do more. I couldn't just show up, do the job, and then leave. I needed to have something else, something that kept me busy a little bit more of the time. And after I had my daughter Ava, and she's 11 now, so after I had her, she was actually in intensive care for a good, I think it was about 8 weeks. And I met some of the most amazing mothers in intensive care unit. And they were all talking about how their babies were too old to get newborn photos. And I thought, well, that's a bit strange. They're still a baby, I could do that. It was
Yeah.
awful. My first few sessions were terrible. Working with older babies, as we all know, can be,
Oh, yes.
it's challenging, and especially with babies who have had, different health things happen, or surgeries, or have a particularly rough start in life, can be extra challenging. So I
Yeah.
actually started with older newborns and learning how to do that. And my husband was the one who told me I should really push into it because it was making me happy. I did try to give up about 6 months in. I thought, I'm a terrible photographer, newborn photographer. I'm not going to do it. And my husband's like, no, 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 keep at it. You can do it. So once I actually just decided, okay, yep, I'm going to do it. We're going to go for it. Newborns just became everything. So yeah, older babies first and then to the younger babies. And then my son was born. I decided to convert my garage to a studio. So I had the home studio, which was amazing. But yeah, it's just gone from there. Just anything that I've decided to do in the business, I just go for it.
I love that. Now you have a love, it appears, for florals as well, and you've really sort of incorporated that love for florals really into your work. So how did you find to mesh that?
I am lucky enough to hang out with some really cool creatives.
Yeah.
I'm a part of a few women's business groups and just having, friends that I made in the wedding industry. And a couple of my friends were florists. My mum always wanted to be a florist. And I mean, I love flowers. I have a whole arm sleeve of flowers. And I wanted to find a way to bring that in. So originally I started working with fresh flowers. So I actually made handmade flower wreaths, fresh flower wreaths, for newborn baby girls who had been in hospital for a little bit. And then it turned into I just made these beautiful wreaths for anybody who requested it. And then I just kept going with it. I did fresh flower everything until it just got very expensive, and was probably costing more than it should have. So I switched to artificial about 2 years ago, I think. And now I do everything flower. Like I can reuse, and I originally was so against artificial, so I'm very happy that I swapped. Came to my senses. But yeah, I do everything flower. I make baby headbands and everything. So that's what's behind me here, all the dry flowers as well. That. So I don't know, it just is, it's bright and happy. Makes me happy.
Love that. Yeah. Well, it's so fun because you can tell in your videos with behind the scenes, especially when you are working with the florals, how much you enjoy the creativity aspect of it. And that really comes across in your behind the scenes, that it really is a passion for you of merging those two together.
Keeps me busy too.
Yeah.
Have I mentioned I need to be busy? I don't know what it is.
No, I had read that your hubby is a stay-at-home parent and came in to help support you. That was actually my journey too. And we really experienced some growing pains in our family for a few years while we were figuring out sort of what our roles were. So my question is, what advice do you have for other photographers that are maybe looking to become their sole income provider?
Wow, goodness. My husband, Adam, is honestly very, very amazing. We met when I was 18 and he knew that I was very, very driven. And I was very fortunate that he was more than happy to just give up work and look after the kids. But for us, it's funny because his main roles are to, take children to school and pick them up and make sure that we all have dinner. That's very important because otherwise, if somebody didn't make me dinner, I just wouldn't have dinner. I'd be in this office all the time. My biggest thing, I think, for other people looking to do it is to make sure that you really have that understanding of what is about to happen. So sit down and really discuss, a few of the key roles that each person is going to do, regardless of whatever they are. Like, he doesn't like doing the washing, so I do the washing, just figuring out the things that work for each other. He doesn't like grocery shopping, so I'll do the grocery shopping, he'll do the cooking, just stuff like that. So really have a good understanding of what needs to be done to make this work. And we just need to be so flexible and just so understanding of each other. And if he needs time off or he needs a break, to have that. So for us, it just kind of really, really worked. It just fell into place. I always need to do something, and he is more than happy to chill at home with the kids and, hang out. So
love that. Love that. Yeah, it's funny because you don't often hear, well, you're starting to hear it more and more. And I love talking to others that have been going through it too, because you're exactly right. Because in the beginning, I would want to go do the things. He would grocery shop and then I would go to the store and pick up things too. And he's like, "Okay, like you can't do that." I have a list.
It's funny
I'm
because
like,
I
but
don't even think about it now. Like it's been eight
yeah,
years.
yeah,
You just fall into it eventually, but it is
yeah,
tough. It is definitely
yeah.
interesting to
We've
begin
been,
with.
I think it's been about 11 years now, and for us, and I
Amazing. Yeah.
haven't been to Costco in 5 years. Like,
Gosh,
haven't
I've only
been.
ever been once in my life to Costco. I got so overwhelmed at everything you could buy. And my
Yeah,
husband's like, no, we're never taking you
yeah,
back there. Like,
no,
just
yeah.
agreed.
My husband will actually go to Costco and he'll take pictures of things he thinks I will like and
Oh,
send them to
no.
me and say, "Would you like me to get this?" And then I'm like,
Yeah,
"Sure, perfect." Right?
love it. Yep.
So good. Now, I love your cute and colorful rompers that you wear in social media videos, and you must get
Yeah.
asked over and over where you get them. So I love that you've really incorporated your own personal style into your social media because it really does make you stand out. So, what advice do you have for others struggling to maybe find their own way of standing out and trying to be unique to themselves?
You know what's funny? So these overalls or, rompers or dungarees, whatever you want to call them, they started out because there's something easy you can change if you get
Yeah.
spewed on. So I just take a romper off and put a new one on, like multiple
Yeah.
times a day, because I usually shoot 2 newborn sessions a day. Um, and then I realized that they are super comfy, like wearing pajamas to work every day. So honestly, it just fell into wearing them. And I'm obsessed with color. So I just feel like you've got to stop overthinking everything. You just need to do the things that make you happy. I spent the longest time trying to change myself and conform to everything, and it just was making me miserable. So the moment that I just decided to put all my social media out there, just started to film and share what actually happens in my studio, and I'm too busy to fake it. So what you see on social media is what you see. Like that's it. I'm too busy to make anything else up. I feel like you just got to let it go and go for it. Whatever you want to wear, whatever makes you happy. I used to read all the newborn photography, forums, Facebook, and they'd go through what photographers should wear during a newborn shoot. And I just thought, well, that's so boring. Like, why do I have to wear that? Why, for my business, am I not allowed to do this? Or, yeah, I think you just gotta not let yourself hold yourself back.
I love
Honestly, just
that.
go for it.
That's good advice. I love that. So I want to ask, can you share any tips on staying organized and balancing your family and your work?
Uh, I already said organized chaos. I think my biggest thing, and I was thinking about this only recently actually, because when you get a new inquiry and you're already pretty busy and you're like, all right, it's okay, I'll take one more. It made me think on, pre-planning the things that you've got to do with your family. So, having breaks over the school holidays and making sure you do things with your children and, allowing that family time. So my big thing that I've realized has worked really well with my kids is whenever we have family time, it's family time. Whenever we're
Yeah.
going out to do something, it's 100% we're going out to do something. I don't pull out my phone or, just one more email or just have to reply to this or you just have to do the family time. You have to be 100% there. And especially because my children are older now, being 7 and 11, I find that they need me to be present 100%. Whereas when they were younger and I was building my business, I was able to sit at the computer and still look over and talk to them. And, they're okay. They're doing something. It's fine. They're engaged. Whereas now they want to have that conversation. They want to sit down and they chat. So yeah, being 100% there and fully engaged with family during family time is very important. I work crazy hours. I do treat this as a proper full-time job. I do go from 7 a.m. till about 6 p.m. most days and then edit a couple of hours when the kids are in bed. So anytime that I am not at work, I'm 100% present.
Yeah, I love that. Now, I know from previous conversations that you and I have had that you have a really efficient workflow when it comes to editing your process. Can you share how you sort of came up with that and how it's been easier for you to take on more because you're able to have an efficient workflow?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's one of those things with editing and workflows. There's so much information out there, and so many people do it in so many different ways. And I
Yes.
used to be very caught up with how I had to deliver my packages, or whether you were IPS or, you know, a digital, just what do they call it now? Shoot and burn or digital
Yeah.
something. And I just do it the way that works for me. So my most, you know, being comfortable with being able to shoot how many images I want to shoot and edit as many images as I want to edit, and then have set packages that I deliver. So all my galleries and sessions, they all have set amount of images that I sit down and what do you call it, cull through and then edit. So I don't let myself get carried away with that. I really stick to my limits. And I
Carried
know,
away.
yeah. But it's so easy to do when you have all these cute babies, all these cute
Yep.
sessions, and you just want to keep taking photos. So I have gotten very, very good at trying not to overshoot, and really kind of knowing what I like. So only taking the photo when I know it's going to work, unless it's, you know, a 2-year-old running around my studio, and then you just what do you shoot and pray?
Yeah.
You know, that's fine. But when it comes to babies who are sleeping and they're settled and they're chill, I try to really keep it to my limits. And then that way my workflow works. Just as my shooting workflow in studio, my editing workflow is quite seamless as well, as long as I don't overdo it. And
Yeah.
I think I've been doing this just for so long now that I know when I've overdone it. And I can tell myself, Tash, you overdid it.
For me, I know I've
Yeah.
overdone it when I start resisting wanting to cull.
Oh,
And I'm like,
yes.
then when I'm like, it's almost like there's too much to go through. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, you overshot again. That tells me like if it was
Yeah.
easy, you'd go do it right away. But
Yeah.
because you've done too much, yeah, you think it's overwhelming because there's too many choices. And my
Yeah.
brain's like, nope, not gonna make any.
It's funny. I have to feel like editing as well. So that's a big issue for me, as I try to set these times that I'm going to sit down and edit, and it just never happens. And then I end up having these massive editing productive days. So I still get everything
Yes.
done within my timeline, but it's always like I'm waiting to feel like editing. So sometimes you just
Yes.
have to sit down and do it,
Yeah.
which is, yeah, that's a challenge for me.
Yeah. One thing I had to really do was realize that I have a artist workflow and I
Mm-hmm.
have a photographer business workflow. And sometimes they can mesh, but it's
Mm.
probably in my best interest if they stay separate because I am a fine art photographer through and through, and I want to
Mm.
spend like an hour and a half on one image.
Yeah.
Yet, that's not really good for my business, right? Not the business model that I run.
No, gosh, I am like 2 minutes per image.
Yeah.
I am so quick. But I have this big, big love of getting the photo right when I'm
Yes.
taking, like, just for newborn photography. Everything else,
Yep.
I mean, honestly, I
Yeah.
could change things and set the pages. But if we're talking newborn photography in general, I really love getting that light perfect. You know, taking the photo and being like, oh, good, there's only skin to edit. Like,
Yeah.
it's not anything else. It's almost like a challenge for me. Every
Yeah.
background needs to be the right size. Every
Yep.
wrinkle, there's no wrinkles in my blankets. You'll
Yep.
notice I'm very, I don't
They're
know,
tight.
they're tight. There's just nothing there. And it's almost like every session I'm like, what else can I improve? Like, how can
Yeah.
I fix that?
I love that. I think when you go into your sessions, instead of like
Mm,
going through how do I get through this, it's like, how do I make this better?
mm,
Like
yep,
that keeps things fresh for you too. And you're always
absolutely.
like, you're adding something to like that roster of, and then it becomes so easy for you.
Hmm.
Eventually, it takes
Eventually. Yeah. And
eventually.
it's
Yeah.
huge because that's something that I really love. In the beginning, that used to be something bad for me. I used to be like, oh, I could have done that better. Like,
Yeah.
that's terrible. That shoot's now ruined, could have done that better.
Yeah.
But now I think, oh, no, I could do that. That's great. Next time I do this, I'm going to take that thing that I was a little bit like, oh, and turn it into, oh, great. Okay. So next
Yeah.
time this is going to happen. It's going to improve. It's going to make things better. And then, it just makes me more excited. So, that comparison of yourself, comparing, it actually can be a good tool if you use it
Yeah.
correctly. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Totally agree. Now, what inspired you to switch? Because I know that you're now in a commercial space.
Mm.
So, what inspired you to make that switch? And what do you feel photographers really need to consider if they're considering a commercial space as well?
So, commercial for me, honestly, was that I got very busy very fast. which is great. And if my husband wasn't a stay-at-home father, I probably would have stayed at home for as long as
Yeah.
I could, because financially with a photography business, and especially being a very prop orientated business, as we all know, very easy to collect props, very hard to maintain props. So
Yeah.
um commercial was kind of just the next natural step for me to allow my family to have a family home. My house isn't very big. It's a 4 bedroom, double car garage, all one level, very, very small. There's nowhere anybody can hide. And I felt myself getting a little bit frustrated just when the kids wanted to have fun in the lounge room, which is next to the garage. It's so close, and you can hear outside noises. So, commercial is just the next thing. But it's a big step. It's definitely, yep. I'm in my second commercial building at the moment. So my first time, I think, jumping into commercial straight away, getting your numbers right, making sure your business side of things is very important. So really understanding what your new outgoings are going to be. That was fun for me. I think just after my first, because what are we now? 5 years, I think, commercial. So just after my first year and a half, COVID hit. So that was fun. So yeah, if I didn't have a good understanding of my numbers and what I needed to bring in, it was just, shooting in the dark. So now I'm very, very comfortable. I know exactly what my outgoings are. I know exactly how many shoots I need to do to be comfortable to keep that studio. And it definitely is a creative space. Being able to step out of your home and have your own organized mess of awesomeness is fantastic. Instead of walking down the end of my hallway and being like, bye guys, just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, totally. I love that you touched on knowing your numbers, because I think that's so important, because so many of us, and I know that I've gone through it, where I've had years of overspending and not realizing that I wasn't actually paying myself at all. I was just investing in more props, and that's not paying yourself, right? That doesn't buy groceries, right?
I know. Overspending is, look, I get so excited at every project. Somebody will come to me with something and it doesn't matter. I'm going to make that happen. I've got to buy it. So now I'm really trying, and my ultimate goal for this year is to make as many things by hand. So bring out the old paper mache. I'm going to make some stuff.
Yeah.
Really try.
I love that. I love that. So we all have moments, I'm sure, of creative burnout. So do you ever find yourself in a rut, and how do you get yourself out?
So I only just recently, over the Christmas period, had a massive, towards the end of last year, early this year, I think the amount of shoots that I did in one year, which was insane. I'm not even going to talk numbers. It was crazy. I ended up, because I work so much, I don't have as many, people that I can talk to or hang out with. So having a few key people in your life that you can sit down and just vent with is such a key thing when you're feeling burnt out. And usually they turn around and be like, oh, well, this is the thing you're complaining about the most, so this is your problem. So just having key people in your life, and mine's my husband and my sister, and I've got a best friend who lives in New Zealand who loves to hear me to vent and rant. And she always turns around and be like, all right, Dash, this is the one thing you've been complaining about for ages. You've got to just push through it. You've got to just figure out what it is that's really, really getting at you and make a change. And then you do start to feel better. But it's okay to have those down periods. Everybody has down periods. And sometimes it's all right to cut back and just do what you need to do to get through. You don't always need to be up and go. And that is a big struggle for me, just being able to be like, it's okay. Not every session that comes in doesn't need to have something brand new that, I've never seen. They've never seen it. It's every session is brand new for them. All the photos are new for them. I get caught up on having to, create something new. And that's what causes my burnout. So just really, having that chat and sitting down and being open, don't hold it all into yourself. That builds up and usually leads to something not good. So just share. Me having my husband who, I mean, he probably gets sick of me ranting, but at least at least I've got him, and he'll tell me straight up what it is that I'm complaining about. So it's good.
I love it. A few years ago, I would do holiday mini sessions, and I know that you do as well. And
Yes.
one year I had booked myself, I think, 87 holiday mini sessions.
Hmm.
And um, the burnout I experienced that year, I was like, I can't do that to myself and my family ever again. Like,
Yeah.
I just wanted to take my camera and throw it, like, smashed against a wall. And I was like, I love photography. Like, who am I?
You know what? It's funny that you mentioned the Christmas minis because each year, this is so my third year, last year's Christmas minis, I ended up with 111 Christmas minis, which I know sounds insane, but the first year that I did it, I wanted to throw my camera at the wall. I
Yeah.
thought, no, I'm never going to do this. But then I looked at my husband and said, oh, I know how I can fix this. I know how I can still do this. So I taught him how to edit. So he did the editing process for the Christmas minis while I did the shooting process, because the shooting itself, I can stand all day and do,
Yeah.
20 families in a day. Easy. I've got systems down pat to
Yeah.
create what I need to create. But the editing side is what
Yeah.
made me
The
just
beast.
like the screen was going to come off my desk and just go sideways
Yeah.
because I can't sit anymore. But yeah, my husband, thank goodness, he can edit. Actually,
That's
I'm
awesome.
pretty. It's very surprising. I would love if he would edit some more. That would be great.
I love it. That's awesome. I never thought about teaching my husband to edit.
I mean, in the beginning, I would come up and be like, "Oh, Adam, that's yeah, maybe just re-edit that one." And I
Yeah,
was a bit worried that he would take that to heart, but he did really well. He did
it's
really, really
great.
well. So it was good. By the end of the shoot, by the end of Christmas minis and the editing process, I didn't have to look over the photos. I was able
Yeah,
and happy to send them. But I think the first like 20 or 30, I was
yeah,
nitpicking everything that I needed
yeah.
to
Oh, that's
fix.
so funny. I love that. So, how would you describe your style as a photographer and your work?
Oh, just colorful. That's the only
Yeah,
word. I try to be colorful. I
yeah,
am falling in love with the neutrals more and more every day, but textured neutrals.
yeah,
So if it's not the color, it's still the textures and that overall, creaminess of neutrals is really coming at me lately. Um, but yeah, just colorful. I try not to box myself into any set particular style. I do like to change things and experiment with things. So yeah, just keep in the color.
love that. Now, what advice do you have for someone maybe struggling to find their own style?
Don't be afraid to try different things, to just experiment and continue, and don't be boxed in when you feel like you found something or you go, oh, this is my style. Don't commit to the bit straight away. Don't be like, okay, this is my style. It took me many years before I realized that my style was more how my lighting was going to look. Like that was my just lighting camera settings. That okay, that's my style, but what I'm taking photos of constantly changes. But the lighting, if that makes sense, like
Yeah,
that's more of my style of how I'm doing it. The flow is my style. That kind of how I do it that way, but not the actual outcome of just like that one
yeah,
thing I'm taking a photo of. Um, but just to play around and then, not to try to have the same style for different types of shoots. Maternity, your outdoor work and your studio work is always very different. People try to match everything.
mm,
And I feel like it's
yeah,
okay to be different. It's okay to
yeah.
have different styles. I've got a good friend of mine who's a photographer who shoots in two different ways. So her family shoots. She loves it. So she gives people the option for her moody side or her light and airy side. And I love that. That works for her and that's how
Yeah.
she shoots. And I think it's great. That's just how she's decided to do it because there are no rules on how you do this. This is your
Mm-mm.
business and whatever you want to call your style, you can call your style. Just go with it.
Love that. All right. Are you ready for our lightning round?
Oh, sure.
Okay. If you like to cook, what do you like to cook the most?
I don't cook. No one trusts
Yep.
me in the kitchen.
I love that. Favorite movie?
There's a movie called Holes, and it's a Disney movie. And don't ask me
Yes.
why. I don't know. I just love it.
That's
Madame
awesome.
Zeroni.
That's awesome. What did you want to be when you grew up as a kid?
Photographer.
Yeah.
And stop work animation artist.
Oh, that's cool. Go-to song that lifts you up when you're feeling down.
I have no clue. I just
Yeah.
put my phone on whatever
Yeah.
music comes on.
Yeah. Love that. Favorite guilty or not so guilty pleasure?
Or I don't know. Me making baby headbands for some
Mm,
reason. That's
yeah,
like it makes me so happy. Just yeah, and I keep buying flowers. So
I love that. Do you sell them too?
yeah,
Ah!
I launched a little shop last year. That's been really good. It's just it's funny because I put up all these amazing headbands. It took me hours and hours and hours, and then they all sold out. And then I got sad because they were all gone.
Oh, like I have to get
What a
rid of them.
problem to have. I
Yeah,
know. So
you're
now I
like, but
need to spend hours
actually,
and hours and hours. Make some more.
I love that. Oceans or mountains and why?
Mountains, because I don't like the ocean. You can't see what you're diving into.
It's true. What's your favorite comfort food?
Oh, light and tangy chips.
Ooh,
Mm,
yeah,
mm.
chips. Where do you feel most centered and happy?
In my studio. It's my happy place.
Mm. What are you most grateful for in this season of life?
Just to be able to be doing this for as long as I have been doing, especially
Yeah,
with me being such a crazy person, doing everything. I'm so grateful that I found something that keeps me really happy.
I love that. What would your dream session be?
Oh, I don't, I don't know. I don't know. I don't really do so. Like every day is like a dream session. I know that's such a
Ah,
cliche answer, but I'm just honestly happy to be given what I'm given
yeah,
in shoots.
I love it.
Take what I
What
can
would you
get.
do with an unlimited gift card for florals?
Oh gosh. You know those really cool flower walls that people see? Ceiling
Yes,
to floor flowers? Yeah.
yes.
I want to build one of those. Just be
Yeah.
epic. You walk in and be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Hmm, hmm.
Love it. What has been the best piece of business advice you've ever been given?
That if you don't do it, no one will do it. But then on the other side of that, don't be afraid to ask for help, which I find
Yeah,
funny. Yeah, those two.
that's good advice, actually. Now, what advice do you have for someone just starting out?
Learn your camera settings inside and out. Read that manual. Super understanding your camera and its capabilities. Before you start getting worked up on style and everything else, you learn those camera settings and your lighting. That's so key. Lighting is everything. It's everything. Yeah.
Where can our listeners learn more from you?
I am launching a few key learning things on my website. So I have a little Learn With Me page on my website, and that's where I'll be announcing lots of bits and pieces. So, yay.
I love it. And you're actually teaching with us for the online newborn retreat that
Hmm.
starts at end of January. So can you share a little bit what your presentation's on?
I had the cutest, biggest little boy that I think I photographed at 2 weeks old. I think he was 4.7 kilos. So my workflow was I show my workflow but it was funny because he was so heavy. So I
Yeah,
actually had to change quite a few of the props at the last minute. So I guess we're showing what we can achieve when we're you know completely unexpected giant baby comes in your door.
oh my gosh,
But yeah,
right?
workflow, working with colors. He also didn't fit in the outfits. So it was so funny. But yeah, just going from one thing to the next, kind of
Yeah,
incorporating a prop and taking out a prop and how you can change an image without changing baby. So
yeah,
making small changes that make extra images for your gallery.
love
Yeah,
it. Well, I'm so excited for our students to go through it because I've watched it myself and it's fantastic.
thank you. Oh,
So
good
I
fun.
love to end my interviews just with this last question, and it is,
Mm.
what are you currently curious about or artistically curious about?
Oh, what am I currently doing? My creative reels, like reels for Instagram. I'm really trying to level them up and actually do them with a professional camera. So that's been a challenge. I haven't posted any yet because that's incredibly hard to film yourself with an actual camera rather than just your phone. So yeah, I'm trying to challenge myself and leveling up social media. Just on Instagram. I've kind of dropped off the boat with TikTok a little bit, but yeah. So creatively, just trying to create a little bit more of a storytelling behind the scenes in my studio rather than my current style. So yeah, playing around.
I love that. Awesome. Well, Tash, thanks for joining me today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, my beautiful friends, I hope you have loved this conversation just as much as I have. I am sending you so much of my light and my love today and every single day. We'll see you next time.